Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Nairobi Gold Rush Podcast. And today we have a very exciting guest. I'm really excited about this podcast today. We have a great guy with us. His name is Assaad Hanash. Is that how you say your name? Is that
Yeah,
close enough in my American English?
yeah.
Yeah.
In Arabic, actually, in Arabic, it's Assaad Hanash, but in
Uh-huh.
English, yeah, you can
Yeah,
translate
it's
it into
close enough.
Arabic.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, close enough.
that's really great. And so, I mean, I guess to just to start out with, I mean, Assad, you live in Syria, right? Is that
Mhm.
correct? Yeah, yeah. So I guess everybody on the
Damascus.
Nairobi Gold Rush would be asking, why we have a guy from Syria. But just a little background on Assad, and he'll tell us more about his background. But he is the lead UI UX designer for the Safeboat app, which is one of the leading ride-hailing apps in East Africa. So I thought it'd be kind of exciting to have Assad walk us through, how he got to this point of leading an app design in East Africa. That's one of like the top apps that are around the area, and I think he's got a really exciting story to tell. So, yeah, welcome to the podcast, Assad. We're glad to have you here. Um, so maybe Assad, why don't you just kind of start out, tell us like, where you're originally from, kind of just start from the beginning. You can kind of tell us like who you are and where you come from. Yeah.
Yeah, mainly Scott, I'm so happy like to be on this podcast, and hopefully it will bring some value like to the people who are watching this.
Mhm.
Originally, I am from Palestine, but I have been born and raised in Syria, Damascus.
Mhm.
Like my grandfather came to Syria and we settled here. Of course, like after the war, like in Palestine, they fled Palestine. Originally,
Mhm.
I am from a city called Safad,
Mhm.
and yeah, my grandfather just like came to Syria. We settled down here, so I was like born and raised here in Syria.
So you would
My
consider yourself Palestinian, but you're born and raised in Syria
yeah,
then. Oh, yeah. So
yeah,
so
we
and
always
so
say
it's from your grandfather's
uh,
side coming over. Yeah.
yeah, we always say like I am Palestinian Syrian, Syrian Palestinian,
Yeah.
which is a
Well,
little bit
that,
confusing. Yeah.
yeah. And what caused your family to relocate to Syria originally?
As I mentioned to Scott, it was
Mhm.
war in Palestine.
Mhm.
Like, you know, um, unfortunately, I lived through wars through my entire life, and it's like something really horrible, like to live through and be part of. Yeah. So I guess like when the war started in Palestine, like my family had to flee to a safer place. They
Mhm.
didn't have the means like to defend themselves, to protect themselves. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think like the only option for them was like to flee to Syria, which was like a safer place for them. And then we
Yeah.
settled down here. Yeah.
And what time period is that when you guys fled?
Actually, it was like 1948.
1948. So like at the original time of when all the original wars were going on back then. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
the Nakba time. It was like the
Mhm.
first Nakba for Palestine. Yeah.
Yeah. So does your like parents or any family members try to go back to the area? They travel back there, or do you pretty much just stay in Syria now?
Yeah, actually, Scott, like for us, it's really complicated to travel. As I mentioned,
Mhm.
like we have
Mhm.
like somehow a dual nationality,
Mhm.
Syrian Palestinian.
Mhm.
And most of the time we are forbidden from entering like a lot of countries, and
Mhm.
believe it or not, one of the countries I am not allowed to go to is like Palestine. I
Wow.
can't travel there.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
like
can't
your
even visit
home.
it.
It's like technically your home area, but you can't even go there. That's kind of that's pretty sad.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah,
know everything in the news has been, quite crazy. I mean, the last few months have been a little tense with everything happening with Israel, and I mean, it's been
yeah,
more like Israel with Iran, but Palestine is always in the mix. I think I know growing up as a kid, we didn't have a lot of access to, like a lot of the news to see like what was going on. But as Americans, we always knew we would even watch this little news show in the morning before school. We would always like see like, okay, Israel, Palestine, they're fighting again. It was just always
Mm,
something like daily, and so yeah, it's kind of a sad situation. So I guess your parents did they find some safety when they got to Syria, or I guess your
yeah,
grandparents, yeah, it was more stable once they got there.
yeah. Actually, my grandfather met my grandmother in the camps. Like,
Mhm.
when you flee, you don't have like a place to stay in. So most of the time, like you stay in tents. And then my father like met my grandfather, my grandmother, and then they started our family here.
Oh
And we are
wow.
Yeah, and even Scott, like you can like here in Syria, we are like few family members. We are not like a big family.
Mhm.
It's only like my dad, my two uncles, and my aunt, and that's it. Like you,
Mhm.
if you count us, like we are only like 20 people around.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, that's
that's
kind of
it.
amazing.
Yeah,
And how
yeah.
did your, once your parents started coming along there, how did they find it there in Syria over time? Like how did they adjust? I mean, I guess they didn't come. I mean, I guess they were your parents born in Palestine as well, or was it mainly just your grandfather? Yeah.
No, no, only my
Yeah,
grandfather to
yeah,
be in
yeah, only yeah,
Palestine.
and then everybody else was
Yeah,
born in Syria, so the kind of Syria is
yeah.
what they know from the beginning. Then, yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah.
And like they left everything behind.
Hmm.
So mainly they didn't have anything at all. They had to
Hmm.
start like from ground zero.
Hmm.
So like I do remember like my entire life I was poor. I've never felt like rich my entire life. My family we've always rented houses. We've never had a place of our own. And most of the time, like we lived in a really tiny small house, like only one room, me,
Hmm.
my father, my mother, my sister, and my brother.
Hmm.
So yeah, and even my grandfather didn't have like like a lot of money, and they we had like a lot of uncles. Like I have seven uncles
Hmm.
and two aunts. So they all also like lived in one place, and they
Hmm.
were like really poor. And like when you are poor, you have less education, and
Hmm.
you become like less educated. You don't have like a lot of chances in life, so everything is like limited for you.
Yeah. Yeah. What did your parents do for work in those days?
Actually, like my dad was like really lucky because he continued studying. He reached university and he graduated from university. He was like majored in economics, uh, and he was working as an accountant for like his entire life. And
Yeah.
I do remember he did like two jobs, not only
Hmm.
one job, like but two jobs, full day job, and then after like the full day job, he would do like 5 or 4 hours again for of work as an accountant. In terms of my mother, she was also like she managed to finish school and she went to college. After graduation, she had like to work as a teacher, and that's how
Wow.
they both supported us through our
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. And so even with all those jobs, it was still hard to come up with the income there, I guess, at that time, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
tough situation. So
yeah.
how was it? How'd you find it growing up in that circumstance? I mean, how? I mean, a lot of our viewers don't know a lot about Syria, I'm assuming, so it'd be interesting to see how it was
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, here, like, like not all Syrians are rich. Most of
Yeah.
them are poor.
Yeah.
Most of them are like struggle on a daily basis, like to get something to eat, like on a daily basis. Like most of them
Mhm.
are employees. Like, salaries are not big in Syria. It's like,
Mhm.
uh, Scott, like for the last, let me say, like 14, 15 years, like salaries were like $50 a month only for the
Mhm.
family, for the entire
Yeah.
family.
Wow.
So multiple members of the family will have like to work to provide for themselves. And as I mentioned, salaries are like really small. It's not like
Mhm.
big. We don't get like big salaries. And yeah, there is not like a lot to do here around in Syria. And with the civil war that happened and with Al-Assad regime that used like to control everything in Syria, like people's chances were like really tiny. And
Mhm.
you would dream of having a house, you would dream of having a car, you would dream even of having like some money in case you have like health issues. If you want, like even some people like they want to educate their kids, but they couldn't afford like enrolling them in institutions or getting them like teachers to teach them or give them like private lessons. So yeah, it's a really tough life here in Syria,
Mhm.
and I grew within that life. As I mentioned, my father was an employee, my mother was an employee as well. Most of the time, they left us with someone to take care of us while they finished their work. The income was like really small. And
Mhm.
I do remember like we always been under like debt. They always like month to month, they get money from someone, they loan from my uncles, they give that back to them. We didn't have a lot of stuff. And as I mentioned, I lived most of my life like in a small house, like one room only.
Mhm.
I've never had like a room of my own or like a place to be Yeah,
So
I
so
didn't have
everybody stayed in
election.
the one room. Your mom, your dad, everybody
Yeah,
was in like
yeah,
one room together. Oh, okay.
yeah,
And how did school turn out for you? You mentioned that like when you don't have a lot, like schooling was
yeah.
difficult. Like how did that turn out for you?
Yeah, actually, here we have like government schools, which they are somehow like free. You
Mhm.
just pay like for like your notebooks, your books, and those kind of stuff. But the education system wasn't like really good here in Syria, and till this moment, like you don't get like this like nice education. Like you are learning things that you are not going to use or like practice after you graduate. And even here, college are not like really good with education. And I studied English literature by the way in Damascus
Mhm.
University.
Yeah.
I wasn't really good at English. I had like to start working, getting in touch like with people who speak native English to learn how to speak English and those kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you went to Damascus University, and you
Yeah,
study English, right? Yeah. And how
yeah,
many years was that a smooth process? Tell us about your experience, like kind of going to university and what it was like.
yeah. So actually, Scott, like it's not a smooth process. Like you are
Yeah.
lucky if you manage to go to a university here. Like
Yeah.
you are one of the lucky ones because
Hmm.
you have to obtain a certain amount of marks or grades before you enter college. And here the education system is really hard, super
Hmm.
hard. And I wasn't really good at school. I was
Hmm.
bad because for multiple reasons, of course. And it was really hard for me like to get into college. And I failed. I guess like it's I don't know what you guys call it, like the last year before college.
Last year before
Uh,
college is well, I
yeah.
mean, some people have like, the senior year is the year like right before you graduate high school. And then some people they take a gap year more in like the European countries where
Mm,
they take some time off before they go to university. Usually in the
mm,
U.S., like it's you do your senior year of high school, the fourth year of high school, and then you go directly to university right after
yeah.
that if you're going to, or you can go later, but there's lots of different paths, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So for us here in Syria, like you are forced to do the senior year, and
Hmm.
after that, if you get like certain grades, you will be
Hmm.
able to go to college, and they make it really hard for you, like to go to the sophisticated colleges, like for example, engineering, um, health, anything related to being a doctor is really hard to get. So you need like full marks to be able like to study medicine or like become an engineer. So for me, I failed my senior year the first
Hmm.
time,
Yeah.
and the second time I managed to success and pass it, but like with
Mhm.
I didn't have like a lot of grades, and
Yeah.
my father had like to sell something to enroll me into a college, like to be able to study English literature.
Yeah.
So it was like tough. Yeah,
And were you going to Damascus University right away? Was that the first place you went? Yeah.
yeah, that's like the first
Yeah.
place
Yeah.
I went to. It wasn't a nice experience for
Yeah.
me because like as I mentioned, I used to live like in a place which is like really far from the university, and I had to spend almost like 1.5 hour to reach my university,
Mhm.
and also like I was really poor.
Yeah.
So here at the university, like we used to meet people from like Damascus, which was like the capital of Syria, and they are like rich. I am not like really big when it comes like to how I look. I'm
Mhm.
a little bit short. So I was also like not confident about being around those kind of like, like pretty girls, super
Yeah.
rich boys, someone
Yeah.
coming with a car.
It's the
So
big
it was like,
capital. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, not it wasn't like the nicest experience for me.
Oh no. So,
Yeah.
how long did you do the university for? How long did that take you to go through that program?
Yeah, actually, I did. It's supposed to be 4 years, but I did
Hmm.
5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reason is, we used to have like some kind of military training within the university. Like
Hmm.
after the third year or the second year, they used like to take us like for 3 weeks and do like a military training, which
Hmm.
was like a nightmare for me. So I
Yeah.
do remember I skipped this military training and they failed me
Oh
in one of the
no.
years. Yeah, so I had like to repeat it again. So I spent 5 years instead of doing 4 years.
Wow. Just for skipping the military training, and they just said, "So you have to go
Yeah,
back for
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
for one more year." Okay. So after you finished your university, then what? what was your kind of plan after that?
Actually, now after I finished my university, I had like a really tough decision to make.
Mhm.
Like usually here in Syria, we used to have like the army service, and
Mhm.
the army service were like mandatory. You can't
Mhm.
skip that. Like
Yeah.
once you finish your studies, you have to go to the army. You have to serve like for almost 3 years, as far as I remember, and then after that, you can continue with your life.
Yeah.
And Scott, you can't do anything to skip the army. You have to go there. You can't get married. You can't walk in the streets. It's forced. It's mandatory. And whenever they like get you, you have to go. Even you can't say goodbye like to your family.
And it's every male in the country basically has to do that. It's like mandatory for
Yeah,
everybody.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Unless you are like an only child like to your family.
mhm. Okay. So if you're
Yeah.
only child, then you're pretty safe then. I
Yeah,
noticed a lot of
exactly.
guys I talked to from Syria, a lot of the guys, they want to get out of the country maybe before they have to do the service, or they try to go to school for as long as they can. It seems like,
Yeah.
yeah, to try to avoid the conditions. But do they still have the military service there now
No, no,
these days? No.
no, we don't have that now, which
Hmm.
is like a really good thing for us now. It's a
Hmm.
blessing for
Yeah.
our young guys because when you go to the army, like you serve for 3 years, and when we had like the war, you would go
Hmm.
like for even 10 years, 11 years, and you don't
Hmm.
know like when you are going to finish with the army service. That's
Yeah.
if you get over the army alive, of
Hmm.
course. But
Yeah.
for now, like at the start of the year with the new government, like that was like canceled entirely.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're coming out of university and now they're saying, okay, it's time for army service, right?
Yeah, so I finished my university studies and now I had like this tough decision whether to leave my family entirely and travel like to another country if I can, of course, because it's something really hard.
Hmm.
And I know, Scott, like for some of you, like traveling is something really normal. Like you
Yeah.
can travel whenever you want. But for me and for the people here and the young men in Syria, it was like really hard. None of the surrounding countries will take us. Europe will not
Mhm.
take us. America will
Mhm.
not take us.
Yeah.
So it was like something really hard as well. So for me, once I finished my university, I had the two options. One is to go to the army and serve in the army. The other one was like to travel abroad. But I didn't have the means. I didn't have the money. I didn't have anything. And at the same time, Scott, like I was really naive,
Mhm.
and I had this idea that like I went through a lot through my
Yeah.
life, and I was like, one of my dreams was like to change the world, make the
Yeah.
world like a better place.
Yeah.
And I said like, if I am scared to go to the army and serve in the army, I don't deserve like to change the world. And I
Mhm.
said like between me and like when we are like young guys, how stupid we are.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
said I need to face this fear. I need to conquer it. This is like the biggest fear of my life. So if I
Mhm.
do this, I will be able to do anything else. And I do remember you have like your national ID card, and once they take that from you, you are doomed. You are
Oh
going to
no.
the army. Yeah. And I
Wow.
do remember I went to the facility where like or to the government like place where you hand over your IDs to go to the army. I went there and I do remember staying for like almost 5 hours, just standing at the door
Mhm.
and being just like really scared. Should I hand over my ID card? Should I flee the country? Should I
Yeah.
travel, leave my dad and mom?
Yeah.
And eventually, like after the 5 hours, I say, let's do this. Like if you there's a saying that says like if you are afraid of something, just jump into it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's what I did. Yeah, it
Oh,
was
okay.
stupid, but I did it.
So you turned over your ID card and now you're in the army, right?
That's it. Like you hand over
And
your ID card. Yeah.
mhm. And what year was this
And
that you entered the army?
yeah. I've actually, Scott, like after directly you hand your ID
Mhm.
card,
Yeah.
they shave your hair
Yeah.
and there is some certain rules like you will go through like before you go.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, when I went to the army, it was like really horrible. Like I
Mhm.
was really depressed. I am not a man of like arm. I don't like weapons. I don't like wars. I spent my entire life drawing, doing illustration, studying literature, reading novels, reading
Mhm.
about love, reading about peace, and all those sort of stuff. So you can imagine a place like the army for someone like me, it was like really devastating.
Mhm.
I do remember I was like really, really depressed most of the time. I thought of like even ending my life because I didn't want like to continue through it. But like at one point, I spent like 6 months in a city called Halab, where they like train you to become an officer, a lieutenant.
Mhm.
And there, I didn't do really good. I do remember I got imprisoned like for two times, and the reason was like I didn't want like to carry weapons. I didn't want like to learn how to use them, and people were like really angry at me, like you are at the army, you have like to learn those sort of stuff, especially that you are going to become like a lieutenant, and you will be responsible for almost like 20 soldiers or so.
Mhm.
And it was a really bad experience. I got a lot of like bullying. They used to throw me at the end of the class.
Mhm.
People were like laughing at me, and I got like to prison like two times, as I mentioned, because I didn't want like to obey and learn those kind of stuff. And eventually, I guess like they were like really sick with me. As I mentioned, they used like to throw me at the end of the class. They didn't pay any attention to me. And somehow they wanted like to isolate me because didn't want me like to spread like my ideas, what I want to do. And at the end of the day, Scott, as well, they didn't see like a really good use of me. Like a small guy, and yeah, I wasn't really
Man,
beneficial to them.
yeah,
Yeah,
mainly
I
because you
wasn't
wouldn't touch the
strong.
weapon. Yeah, you know
Yeah, yeah.
weapon. Yeah, in an army. Yeah, I guess I was gonna say, well, that's not gonna do much good, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I was more of a liability that they
yeah.
can't rid of
Hmm.
rather than like something useful to them.
Yeah, no, that's one of my favorite stories. There's the guy, the conscientious objector from this guy Desmond Doss, who's a famous guy from World War II, and I have a grandfather who fought in the army or was a medic in the army in World War II, and it was in similar battles. That this guy Desmond Doss, I think, was in, and he refused to carry a gun, but yet he saved like over, I don't remember how many people. I think 50, over 50 people. I don't know the exact numbers, but
Yeah,
they made some really good movies about it. And so the whole idea of like wanting to save life instead of take it, it is a really interesting concept that there's lots of other ways to serve, I guess, in the military without having to, yeah, be
yeah,
be there with the gun and taking things on. So I guess, but they kept throwing you in kind of like the military jail and things like that, just because you wouldn't touch the guns and cooperate.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how'd you get
It
out of
was
how'd you get out of that situation? Because I'm assuming with your university degree, you're like, usually in the U.S. at least, you're a little bit higher caliber.
yeah,
You start like an officer or something that when you go to come in
yeah,
with like already educated, right?
yeah. Scott, actually, I was really lucky, really, really lucky. What happened is like I spent 6 months in Halab being trained to become like an officer and a lieutenant, and then after that they send you like to serve, and they send you like, okay, now you are an officer, you are capable of like leading someone, and they send you like to serve. And what they did like after I finished my studies in Halab, I was dispatched to an area called Harran Al Awamid, and also an area called Ghouta Sharqiya. They sent me there, and I do remember like when we got there, I had like 25 soldiers with me. I was like responsible for them, and what happened is like all of the officers with me were like really scared to go to a place called Al Hindiya, which is like a direct front line between the army and the Syrian Free Army. So they were like really scared to go there. And I do remember like my commander, the biggest commander, the highest rank commander, he was like a big, really, really big guy. He was really strong, and I always been like afraid of him. He
Yeah.
came to me. I do remember. He came to me. He stand off, and I was sitting like this. He stand in front of me, and he looked down at me, and he said, "Asad, you need to take your soldiers and go to this area and sit there and protect that place." And I was like, "Oh my God!" I told him, "Sir, I don't know anything about war. I don't know anything about leading anyone, and I don't think you should do that." And I do remember he was like really angry with me because there was like a lot of bad things in the army. Like like you could pay money to your higher commander or officer, and he would send you home. And I
Hmm.
was like poor. I didn't even have money, and I had like to obey orders, etc., etc. And I was
Right.
weak.
Yeah.
And yeah, they sent me like to this area. I was there with my 25 soldiers, and I didn't know what to do. It was like I do remember I left like the next day early in the morning. Everyone was like sleeping. I went to a private place behind something, and I started crying. I didn't want to
Uh,
be there. I didn't want like to be part of war, whatever type of it is. I just wanted to go back to my like notebooks, illustrations, video
mhm,
making, and to
mhm,
my family. So it was really, really
mhm.
an awful experience.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I guess this was during the time of the civil war you guys were having there in Syria. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and who was
Yeah,
the, just for our listeners' sake, like, I guess you were kind of fighting for the Assad's government side as part of like the country,
yeah.
standard military service, but there's other factions who are the other guys that y'all were fighting against, essentially? Guys trying to overthrow the regime, or?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, Scott. Like it was
Yeah.
like the Syrian army that, or let's call it like Al-Assad army, which like like
Yeah.
most of the people in Al-Assad army were like forced to be there
Hmm.
as me. Like I was forced to be part of that. I didn't have any other choice. And there is like the people of Syria, like
Hmm.
this were like the other front that like
Hmm.
we were like fighting against.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
kind of like fighting your own people in a way, I guess. Like people,
exactly.
yeah, 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 kind of like brother
And
against brother
Scott,
type of fighting. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And Scott, I was living in a city called Harasta, which
Mhm.
was like one of the first cities that opposed Al-Assad regime and that
Mhm.
like started the revolution against the Al-Assad regime. And I was like really torn about between where I am and what I believed in. So I had
Mhm.
like to lie a lot, to be
Mhm.
a hypocrite, and yeah, you were not comfortable like being there. But let me tell
Yeah.
you about like the other stuff that
Yeah,
happened
sure.
afterward.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, that'd be
So
great. Yeah.
yeah, so they throw us in this area. It was a
Mhm.
desert, a complete desert. There were only like one room, one pre-built room. Of course, Scott, I can share with you images. You can present that later on.
Mhm. Yeah, sure.
And yeah, we were there like I do remember we were like 25 persons. I was responsible for them, and we were like really depressed. We were all forced like to be in the army. It was mandatory. We couldn't do anything. And we didn't know what will happen later on. As I mentioned, like some people served for like 10 years or like 11 years, and we didn't know like how much time we are going to spend there.
Are these guys
Uh,
like mature, like tough guys? Or they
no, 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 no.
not at all?
Honestly, Scott, yeah, no, not at all. This is what I didn't know before as
Mm.
well. Like when I went to the army, I didn't know. Like most of the soldiers are like 18, 19 years old or 20
Mm.
years old. That's it.
Mm. Yeah.
And I was like the oldest between them. And I was back at the time, I guess like 27, 28, something like this.
Yeah.
You can consider me like big enough as well, like to
Yeah.
lead. Yeah. So
But you
they
were
were
the
like
the
just
senior.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they were just kids, and Scott, all of them came from like poor families, bad education, and imagine Scott, most of them didn't know how to read and write, which was like a big surprise to me, a huge
Wow.
shock.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
here you are university educated, and you have guys
exactly.
that they can't even probably write standard orders or anything like that, just to write letters
Yeah,
back home or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Imagine
Quite
Scott, like you are after the year 20,
mhm.
and there are people who don't know how to read and write. That was
Yeah.
like a big shock to me,
Yeah.
and it's
And
because of poverty. It's
yeah.
because of poverty.
Yeah. And would they listen to your orders, or were they always goofing around? Like, was it hard for you to
No.
get control of these guys? Yeah.
No, no, no. Scott, like the first day we were there, everyone is depressed, no one is talking to anyone. And it's a really real life situation. And it's really hard. It's not like movies. Like I do
Yeah.
remember we settled down, we didn't have food, we didn't have anything to drink, like water, we didn't have water. And what happened at the first day, everyone was like sit, annoyed, depressed, no one talked to anyone. And next day, as I told you, I wake up early in the morning. I went to a private place. I didn't want to see anyone to see me crying. I was like supposed to be their leader. So
Mhm.
I went, I cried alone. And we didn't have like mobile phones with us. You can't contact your family, nothing of this sort. And then I came back to them and they really hated me. I was the one. They wanted a scapegoat or they wanted someone to blame.
Yeah.
And there were Assad. He was like to
Mm.
blame. We are not going to love him. We are not going to allow him to lead us. You can't give us orders. And
Mm.
I do remember I had a fight with like two of them or three of them. What happened? They were like just like bothering everyone else, bullying
Yeah.
everyone else. And
Yeah.
I just came to them and told them like leave those leave the others alone. It's not
Mhm.
like a situation where we are like happy. We can't joke with just leave everyone be on their own. And they
Yeah.
were like, no, we are not leaving them. And they were like really big, tall guys.
Yeah.
And they approached me. And Scott, I have never had a fight in my entire
Yeah.
life, never ever. And they they just like came towards me, stand in front of me, and they pushed me like this and told
Yeah.
me, "You don't got like to say anything about this. You just
Mhm.
go to the room, sit there, and never come out." And
Yeah.
Scott, imagine I had like to stay with those guys for like almost over like 4 years, 5 years, who knows? And at the same time, I was responsible because like the other commanders, officers will come to me and say, "How's things going?" And I can't say like start crying, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really horrible. And what happened next day, Scott? I needed to be really smart about this. Like, how can I lead people, or at least how can I like ask people like to just like become one group, um, to love each other and to stay in like really hard situations. You need to survive. And this is what I thought of like how can we survive here as one group? We don't need to fight. We don't need like to be against each other. And I needed like to be really smart about it. So what happened? Like at the same day, one of like the toughest officers in the army came to visit us, and he looked at me and he said, "Asad, is anyone bothering you? Is anyone like not listening to your orders?" And Scott, he was like a really scary man. He used to dig holes in the ground, like he dig holes in the ground, and he would like make one of the soldiers, if he want like to punish him, to go into the hole, and then he get like honey or something like that, and he adds it like around the hole, and then like insects,
Yeah.
ants, and different kind of, yeah, would come like to this soldier, and he was like really tough. We didn't feel like he have a heart at that time. And I was like really scared of him as well. And he asked me like, "Is anyone bothering you? Do you want us like to punish anyone of the soldiers, etc., etc." And Scott, there were like one punishment that would extend your service
Uh-huh.
duration.
Wow. Yeah.
For Yeah, so for example, like you are going to serve like for 2 years. Now, if someone punished you, this punishment, you will serve like for 2 years and 2 months, three
Yeah.
months, 4 months. So they add like more time to your service. And
Yeah.
that was
Nobody wants
like the
that. Yeah.
scariest one. Yeah, that was like the scariest one. And he looked me in the eyes in front of all the soldiers and he said, "Anyone bothering you?" And at this moment, I knew like I need to be smart about this. If
Mhm.
those people understand that I don't want to hurt them, I don't want to be like to lead them. I don't want to be like a high commander or like an officer. I'm just like them. I came to the army by force. It was like mandatory. I just want like to spend those days in peace and then leave and get back like to my dad, my mom, to my dreams. And at this moment, I felt I shouldn't like rat them out or talk about them. And and like just like similar to a movie, I just looked them in the eyes and I sent a message to them. I can like hand you over now to this kind of officer, and he can do all of crazy things with you.
Mhm.
And then I looked him in the eyes, and then turned around and I told him, no, like we are good, we are doing good, we are like coping with the environment, with everything around us. We just need like some food, some water, if you kindly can support with that, because we are hungry like from like two from the last day, etc., etc. And then he went away.
Mhm.
And after this accident, like the officer actually sent us like some eggs, some potatoes, some tomatoes as well. And for me, like being the officer in the area, like I would get like more food than the others.
Yeah.
Like usually a
Exactly.
soldier, yeah, and Scott, like usually a soldier would get like one egg, one potato, and one tomato for the
Mhm.
entire day,
Oh yeah.
which is really a lot.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah. While I got like, you can say like 8 eggs,
Oh,
8 tomatoes, and yeah, and we used to count them, Scott. It's not like they hand you a bag of stuff. No, no, they count like, okay, this is your potato, this is your
wow.
egg, this is your tomato. And I got like much more than them. And I saw like that's like another opportunity to build
Mhm.
something with them.
Yeah.
And then at this moment, what I did, I gathered everyone and I told them, we don't have like to eat each one on his own. We can eat together, which will provide like more food. And I told them, here I'm willing like to offer everything I have, which is like a lot than what you guys have. And I offered
Mhm.
that to them.
Mhm.
And at this moment, like I started building this kind of nice relationship with them as like
Mhm.
friends, partners. And at the same time, I was like the oldest one.
Mhm.
And it shocked me. I was like really sad to see them not being able like to read and write, not being
Mhm.
and like usually you sit with them and you ask them like, what's your dream? What do you want to do after the army? And usually like they don't have anything in mind. Just like torture after torture after torture. Like after you finish the army, you are going to be poor again. Maybe you are going to wash cars in the streets to get money. So it's really, really tough. They didn't have any kind of hope at all.
Wow. Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
sad. Yeah. And
yeah, really
so,
gleam.
yeah. And so, during this time, did you guys actually make it into battle, or how did things play out for you?
Yeah. As I mentioned, I was super lucky. I
Hmm.
was really lucky. I've never had like to fire my gun at all. I
Yeah.
only shot like two bullets
Hmm.
on a Pepsi Cola
Yeah.
through my entire service.
Yeah.
So I was really, really lucky. Even though like we were like in a really hot area, me and the soldiers in a really like scary area where like we are on the front line
Hmm.
of the fight. But we've never had like to engage like with the other parties. We've never
Hmm.
had to do that, which was like
Yeah.
really good. Yeah, we've never had to do
Yeah.
that. Sometimes, like they threw rockets at us or like
Hmm.
bombs, etc. But we couldn't
Yeah.
do anything about
Yeah.
that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I know during that time in the US, it was kind of scary because, we would just see videos online and there wasn't a lot of news about it. I mean, just like a soundbite, a war in Syria, something like that. And we started seeing like ISIS during this time. Did you guys,
Mhm.
was that one of the other groups that was out there in the mix of
Yeah, yeah,
everything?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ISIS was there.
Yeah.
They used like to hack our Lassel keys and talk to us. They
Uh-huh. Yeah.
mostly they Scott, mostly they say like we are going to come and capitate your head. That's what
Yeah.
we used to hear from them most of the time. It was like a really scary time.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
scary. Yeah, and we would see all that on the news, and people would be very afraid, even in the U.S. when they start seeing that kind
Oh,
of thing. And for you to be on the
yeah.
front line, I'm sure was quite a scary time. So you made
Yeah,
it
we
through. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Scott, like I do remember sometimes like we used to like close the doors, lock them. And like if you want to be honest, we are civilians brought
Yeah.
into war.
Yeah.
It's not
Exactly.
like even the soldiers, they are not like well trained. They don't know how to use guns. We have like really old equipments. So
Hmm.
we were not like, you can say like this is like an army. It was like a group
Yeah.
of civilians brought together, forced to stay in one place, and they are
Hmm.
going to stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I guess the other side was really fighting for their, I guess, to change the regime. So
yeah,
they were pretty set
yeah,
up. They were pretty. Their heart was really into the battle, I guess, is what you would say.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, well that's really interesting. So you survived except for a few bombings or the rockets,
yeah,
everything, and
yeah,
you was that. But that I'm assuming that was a pretty scary experience as well to have rockets flying around you and those type of things, right? I mean,
yeah.
what was that experience? It was just a kind of crazy time, I
At the,
guess. Mm-hmm.
yeah, at the same time, Scott, you have to remember that I left my dad and mom and my family behind. So, and I was afraid on them from Al-Assad regime.
Hmm. Yeah,
And at the same time, I was part
you
of the
were
army.
so you were fighting for the guy that was you were afraid of
Yeah,
what he could do to your family, essentially. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And my family lost their house. They were like they left our home because like Al-Assad regime started like to send troops and armies to Harasta to those cities where they were like against him. So even
Hmm.
my dad and mom like we had they lost like the house they were staying in, and
Hmm.
they like came to Damascus to stay with my grandfather in his house.
Wow.
And it was like really crowded now. Yeah, most of the
Yeah.
people in Syria like lost their houses. Some of them, for a really long time, Scott, they slept in parks and
Hmm.
in the streets. You would go to the street and you would see like children, kids, old men, old women staying in the street, and that's their place. Like they
Yeah.
take some kind of corner or like a part of the garden, uh, or the park, and they say like this is their place now. You can see they have like their stuff with them. Yeah, it was like
Mhm.
really horrible times, and you can see that with your own eyes when you walk through the streets.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of the videos of the bombings that happened. These guys, the white hats, they would come in and be pulling people out of the wreckage. It was quite crazy. It
Yeah,
was pretty dramatic, I would say. So you guys really went through a tough
yeah.
time there. Yeah, sad to see that. But I guess so. How long did you stay in the army for?
I stayed for 3.5 years, something like
Mhm.
this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the army experience was really
Hmm.
good to me, and I managed to escape it because I think I was lucky at first, and then because I don't know, like when you have like good intentions, I guess life supports you overall. It
Hmm.
was like as I mentioned, some people Scott served in the army like 10 years and 11 years, 12 years. But for me, it was like 3.5, 4 years. And I was
Hmm.
like super lucky to get out of there. And the reason I got out of there is I did something really different from most of the people in the army.
Uh-huh.
Uh, yeah, what I did is got like once I become like friends with those guys with me, they are really like 19 years old, 20 years old. They are still kids. For me, they were like just kids and uneducated kids. What I did is I started teaching them,
Hmm.
like you need to survive. You need to have some hope, like to live for tomorrow. It was like a really bleak times, bad times, and I needed something to give me life. So what I did, I started teaching them how to read and write Arabic, English, and like how to design stuff, how to do illustrations, how to draw, and that gave me like a lot of like power, like to continue living through like those 4 years.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, those people around me like started growing. They were like I don't know, like I didn't mention this to you, but like initially like 25 people, we had only one room to stay
Oh
in the
gosh.
middle of the desert. Yeah, in the middle of the desert.
Yeah,
and
that's
what
terrible.
happened and what happened, we used to stay all of us there in this room. At one day, I came to the room and I didn't find anyone. I didn't find my other friends like stuff, and I was like really surprised. I only saw a wooden bed. It was handmade, nothing fancy, but just like something above the ground with
Yeah.
wood, made with wood. And then like all of those people came to me and said, "It's time for you like to get your own room. You
Wow.
shouldn't like." Yeah, they said like, and I will send you like the pictures as well. You can show that. And they
Okay.
said like you
Very cool.
shouldn't live like with all of us here. Like
Yeah.
everyone is. Yeah. And I told them, where are you going to go? Like you can't sleep directly under the sky, and it's a desert. Like there
Yeah.
is all sorts of scary stuff out there.
Yeah.
And they said like we will manage. We will do like something really special here. And I said like, okay, let's see. And what they then did, Scott, is they started building their own rooms.
Oh
They would get
wow.
like, yeah, they would go like through rubbish, get like wood, they get like whatever materials they can get. And they
Uh-huh.
started building those kind of rooms around my room.
Wow.
And I will show you the images. Like you can see, like we have like the central room, which I used to stay in, and then
Mhm.
around it we have like over five other rooms around it. So we have like this tiny village, and
Oh, that's so
each
cool.
like
Yeah.
each like 3 to 4 people would go like and live in one room,
Hmm.
and I stayed like in the center one
Oh,
there.
nice.
And yeah, as I mentioned, like I started teaching them how to read and write, how to do like what's life like. You should have hope. We will survive this. We will overcome this. And most of them are now my friends, still my friends. They are doing like pretty good jobs in life. One of them is like a graphic designer at Space Tune. He started without knowing how to read and write. Imagine.
Wow.
The other one opened his own factory, and which
Nice.
is really crazy.
Yeah,
And
that's
Scott,
what
we
is
are
crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Like from nothing to building something. It's not big, but it's something, and
Yeah,
it
it's a
means a
step
lot to
forward.
us. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's really
yeah, yeah.
great. And so what was it like when they told you your time was up with the army? Like how did that go?
It wasn't really good. I was really sad. I
Yeah.
do remember, like, I got the call from my officer, my commander, and he said, "Asad, we are releasing you.
Mhm.
We no longer like need you." And it was because what I did. They
Mhm.
heard, like, someone like in a high rank heard about me teaching people and giving them lessons, and he said, "This man shouldn't stay at the army. We should release him." And he was the reason behind me like being released
Oh
early.
wow. Yeah.
And yeah, and I do remember, like, on the phone, I was like, really, it wasn't a phone, it was like a laselki, something that they
Mhm.
have in
Yeah.
the army.
Yeah.
And I was like, I started crying, and
Mhm.
people came to me and said, "Why are you crying?" I told them, "It's time for me, like, to leave. They will not leave me here." And I told the commander, "For God's sake, don't release me. I don't want,
Mhm.
like, to end my service. I want to stay with my friends. If you leave me go, like, my family used to live in a one room house. It was like really small. They don't even have like anything. Like, when it's like 7 o'clock in the evening, they didn't have any kind of lights to turn on. They used
Oh
like
wow.
to light candles.
Yeah.
And and Scott, like, in the army, you get like this kind of small salary, small amount of money,
Yeah.
and I used to send that to my family to support them. And
Yeah.
now, if they release me, I will be a liability to my family. They need, like, now to spend money on me,
Yeah. And
and
they don't
I
help you
can't,
to get
like,
a job
support.
or anything like that. The army, they just
Yeah,
send you away and say now
no, 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 no,
your
no,
stipend's
no.
gone. Yeah.
They, yeah, they just give you like your ID, and that's it. You are in the streets. That's it. They don't offer
Wow.
anything else. Yeah,
Wow.
and yeah, I cried a lot, but I couldn't do anything about it. Like, military orders is something you have to do. You can't negotiate, etc., etc. And they released me. I do remember that day. It was like I was really depressed. I went home. My family, like, brought fast food. It's something we don't eat a lot. They got like really nice chicken. It was like fried chicken, etc., etc. And I sat down with them. Of course, I was happy, like, to be with them, but at the same time, I do remember, like, I started crying, and my mom said, like, "What's wrong with you?" And I told her, like, people, I left friends, brothers who are now hungry. They don't have clean water. They don't have food to eat, and now I am supposed to sit here, be happy, and eat. And I know I'm happy to be with you, but, like, no, it breaks my heart. I know they will be stuck there for God's know how. Maybe they will get killed, and
Yeah.
it's really bad, really bad.
Mhm.
And I
Did
cried a lot. This is what
yeah.
I remember about
Did
myself.
the guys you left behind, did they end up making it into battle at any time or everybody kind of came out okay?
No, no, no.
No.
Thank God, thank
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
All of them
Mm. Yeah.
are out, and
Yeah.
all of them are okay. And
Yeah.
I'm still in touch with most of them.
Oh, nah. Oh, that's really nice. Well, then,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're now, how old are you at this time? Late 20s, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you left the army and you in your later 20s, I guess, or 30
yeah, I
maybe?
was I was I was 30,
Yeah,
29,
30,
30,
20,
something
30,
like this.
somewhere around that age. So,
Yeah.
I guess coming out of the army, how did you start then kind of getting into more the tech and design side of things? Yeah, how'd that
Uh,
play out for you?
yeah. So, Scott, I need to mention this, I guess, because it adds to my story, like, when it comes to
Yeah,
my career.
yeah,
As I mentioned, I grew up, like, in a really poor family. We didn't have
mhm,
like a lot of means. We didn't have
yeah,
like a house, etc., etc. I fall
mhm,
in love with a girl. I
mhm.
spent 10 years loving her,
Oh,
and she left me
oh, no.
out of yeah. Uh, like, as I mentioned, I'm a small guy. I'm not like a big guy, and this
Mhm.
girl, like, become really big, really beautiful,
Yeah, yeah,
really black, long hair, amazing.
mhm,
And yeah, at some point she said, like, "You are poor, you are from a different religion. I
mhm,
don't think we can continue together." And she left me, and
yeah,
I was devastated at that time. She was like the only thing I had in my life. I
mhm,
didn't have dreams, hope, anything. It was like the only thing that would keep me alive. And then I looked around, like, I'm really poor. My family is poor. We will never get rich or anything.
mhm,
And we have, like, my brother at that time was sick. I was sick as well.
mhm,
And then I I wasn't good at school. Nothing, there is nothing for me. So I decided like to take my life. And I actually went like to do it. And I went like to a bridge somewhere here. Like we have a highway. And then
Hmm.
I do remember like I went there, it was like snowing, and I just decided like to end my life. But I couldn't do it because like at one point I just remembered my mom, my dad, they were like doing a lot for us, a lot. And I thought, if I can't be happy in life, I can live like to make others happy, to live
Hmm.
for other people. And I had like a little sister, and I just like imagined if she wakes up the next day, if she didn't find me. I used like to walk
Mm.
her around, take
Sure.
her like to parks.
Yeah.
So I decided that like, okay, I will live for other people. I don't have like to be happy in life. I can make other people happy. And then at this moment, I started thinking about like how can I bring people joy, especially in Damascus, because like 99% of the people are poor, and the only way I, I figured like if I want to make people happy, I need to get money, and like because everyone needs money, they like have needs they can't like even when it comes to food, some of them couldn't eat like probably, etc., etc. So I started thinking like, how can I like make money? How can I like bring money? And I was really bad at everything. I didn't know how to use a computer. So I started like a really long journey of learning. It lasted me like almost like 2 years, 2.5 years. I One idea came to my mind was like when I was like talking to my friend at that time, like it was like really, really old. People used like to play Red Alert and Counter-Strike, those kind of computer games.
Yeah.
And of course, I was a young guy, so I knew a lot about those games. And then I started thinking, how about I make like a computer game?
Yeah.
And I thought like that would bring me a lot of money. And that was like the first time I think about getting money through like making a product or offering a service. And I spent, as I mentioned, like 2.5 years learning how to do like games, to create a game. Of course, we didn't have like internet connections. We used like to host to an internet cafe shop where you have like to pay money to use internet for like 1 hour, 2 hours. And I used to go there and like download a lot of PDFs, a lot of videos, tutorials, etc., and take that back home to start studying all of that.
Yeah.
Um, and Scott, I didn't even have like a really good computer. It was like bought, it was like used, and like we loaned its a price. We didn't pay entirely for it. We used to pay for it like on a monthly
Oh,
basis
you do.
till
Yeah.
till I owned it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So like rent to own type of thing. Yeah. Nice.
yeah, and it wasn't a really good one,
Mhm.
even though I truly love it. It was
It got the job
my
done, I guess.
yeah, it was my first PC.
Yeah.
And I went through this journey like 2.5 years learning how to make a game. And eventually I made a game called like Escaping to Freedom. It
Mhm.
was the fourth Arabic production of a game in the entire
Wow.
world.
Wow.
And I learned a lot. I learned like how to do graphic designs, illustration, 3D modeling, rigging, direction, lighting. I learned a lot, and once I finished the game, it was surprising to me that I couldn't sell it. The reason is like I didn't know anything about marketing or
Yeah.
sales or PR or relationship, HR, or like knowing people, how to close a deal, how you ask for money from someone, or how you
And
price like a product or a service.
yeah. And did you build the game entirely by yourself? I mean, did you have any help or you were
Yeah,
doing all the
no, no,
illustrations,
no.
all the 3D and everything? Yeah.
Yeah, everything like through 2 years. They have a term now for this. It's called like an indie game developer. We
Hmm.
didn't have that back that time. We
Yeah.
didn't have that time.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say
yeah, I
these
did
game
everything.
studios usually have like 100 different people working on a game and all the different departments, and so it's pretty crazy that you were able to figure that all
Yeah.
out yourself from the rented computer and the going to the internet cafe to get your materials. That's quite crazy. Yeah. And you said it's
Yeah.
the fourth one in the Arabic world that was created like that, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I used to spend like a lot of time. This is why I was really bad at college because I used to pay a lot of attention to the game,
Yeah.
not like to my studies.
Hmm.
And yeah, no one believed in me, Scott. Like my
Hmm.
family, my father would always come shout at me,
Hmm.
leave the damn computer, go to your studies. You need to get to graduate, get a job,
Hmm.
become an employee, something like this. No one
Yeah.
believed in me.
Yeah.
And they have every right, like after 2 years, like it's a long, long time.
Yeah. No, I know my
Yeah.
son, he loves video games and is playing them all the time. And I'm always telling him, get off the video games. And he says, you know, Dad, I can make a lot of money if I'm a video
Yeah.
game champion or something. And I say, well, go get off the games and
Yeah.
get a real job.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
I
exactly.
can see your dad like really, yeah, being on top of you about this. Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember Scott even like I contacted like 360 companies in the Middle East like to sell the game. Like none of them knew they were like publishing houses where they publish only books, stories, books,
Yeah.
printed stuff. None of them like knew what a game is. Like I used to send them like emails, and the next email they would send me was, and I have a copy of all of those emails, by the way. The next email that I would get from them, what is a game? What do you mean like you have made a game? What is a game? What you do with it, etc. Eventually, I was lucky. I got like in touch with someone in a city here in Syria called Hama. His name is Ahmad Ammouri, and he used to have like a company that produces like digital content, which was like lucky for me because he knew what a game is. And I got in touch with him. I do remember he said like, I'm coming to Damascus. Let me see you. And I was like a really not confident guy, small guy. And he came to Damascus. He said, let's meet. And I met him. I do remember we sat on the corner of the street. We
Hmm.
didn't sit in a restaurant or like a
Yeah.
cafe. We sat on the
Wow.
street. He said, like, it's really surprising that you made this. And I told him, yeah, because even me, Scott, I didn't know what I have made. For me, it was like something I made, but I didn't know if it was like big, small. I have no idea. And he said, I am willing to buy this game from you for like 50,000 Syrian pounds.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how was that at the time in dollars. It was like a really good amount
Yeah,
of
for you
money,
it's
a
a
lot
good
of
amount of
money
money.
for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And he said, but yeah, yeah, yeah. Anything you would give me at that time, Scott, I would consider it a lot. And he said, like, but you have like to come to Hama so we can like sign the papers, etc., etc. I do remember I was like at my second year in college, and of course I didn't have a lot, and I didn't have any money with me, so I needed like the fees to go to the transportation fees to go to Hama, etc., etc. So I do remember I went to one of my friends. I told him, okay, his name is Riyas. I told him, Riyas, I want you to lend me 1,000 Syrian pounds. And he said, like, what you are going to do with it? I told him, don't worry, I will get it back to you within like 2 days, and I promise I will double the amount for you. And he said, okay, but where are you going? What are you going to do? And I said, like, you don't have to worry about this. The only thing you need to consider is if I am missing for 2 days, you have to call my family and tell them Asad went to Hama. And he said, oh my God, what are you going to do there? And Scott, I've never traveled, never been like
Yeah.
to any place alone. Yeah. Our families are really protective of us.
Yeah.
They don't like let you do a lot of stuff. Like you, maybe in America, like you allow your kids like to go party, go to trips, etc. Here in
Yeah.
Syria, they don't allow
No.
us to do that.
Yeah. So you never traveled
Yeah,
anywhere before and you're getting on you take a bus, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I took the money from my friend, went, and I took a bus. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and my family suddenly like wake up. They told me, "Where are you going?" I told them, "I'm going to play football with my friends. It's next to our building. You don't have to worry."
Yeah.
And I do remember I took like a small bag where you
Mhm.
strap it around your like shoulder like this. It was really
Right.
small, and I took that bag with me. Then I went to Hama. The guy came like with a really nice car, and he opened the door for me, and he said like, come, Asad, come with me. I'm taking you to my offices. I need you to meet all of my people." And then I went to the offices. Everyone was like waiting for me at the door, and I was like, oh my God, I was shocked. What's wrong with them?
Dude, this seems a
And
little
they
scary.
started,
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they started saying, oh my God, you made the game. How did you do it? uh, and it's something really, really advanced in our time here. And, like we're not like really an advanced country, so it was
Yeah.
something really special. And they took me like, and that was like the first time I feel like valuable.
Yeah.
And they like kissed me, took me like to the offices. They set me down. They said like, Come on, start playing your game." And I said, "The entire game?" Yeah, they said, "Yes, the entire game." And I do remember like I finished it's like 7 levels, and I
Uh-huh.
finished the entire 7 levels. And through the gameplay, they used to ask me, how did you did this one?" who did this illustration for you? And who did this and this? And I used like to answer them. And I was pretty in shock, like, what's wrong with them? For
Yeah.
me, like it was like, yeah, normal stuff, like anyone would do this, etc. But it was like big a little bit, especially with the like when you use a game engine, those was like really fancy terminology, like to say a game engine. They didn't
Yeah.
hear about that, and you explain to them what a game engine is. Eventually, Scott, like the company owner, took me with him. That was like the first time I go to a bank. He got like an amount of money and he signed me papers. And I know like all of those papers were fake. None of them were
Yeah.
real.
No, no,
And
no lawyer was involved.
no, no, nothing,
No.
nothing. He gave me the money. He said like, this is the contract. This is your copy. This is my copy. Now you can't sell this to anyone else. And I said, of course, I'm not going to sell it to anyone else. I had the money. I put it in my small like bag. I do remember I held that like really dearly to my heart. It's not
Yeah.
about money. It's about the achievement. About like
Yeah.
I'm going to prove everyone wrong now.
Yeah.
And I went to Damascus. The first place I visit was like my friend. I
Mhm.
took like 2,000. I told him, here is your money. It is
Yeah.
doubled. And he said, what did you do? And I told him, I brought up like the contract. I told him I sold my game. And he said he didn't believe it. I told him, I sold my game. Here is like the contract. You can read it. This
Wow.
is the money. Look at this. And it was like a lot of money, Scott. I
Mhm.
also like do remember like I went through the entire neighborhood, went through uh like each store I know, each friend I know. I showed them, oh, I sold the game, I sold the game. I'm rich now.
Yeah.
And finally I went home.
Mhm.
I gathered my entire family in one room,
Mhm.
and then I told them, okay, guys,
Mhm.
I sold the game. I
Yeah.
got like this amount of money. And the next thing I do remember was like my dad screaming at me, my mom screaming at me, where did
Wow.
you get the money? You are causing us a lot of problems. This guy is going to sue you. Did you steal the money? And I told him, no, I got like my game. I did it entirely by myself. And then I sold it. And it was for them like a concept they didn't understand. They used
Yeah.
like to get money from their like daily jobs. Like
Mhm.
that's it. Like you get your salary at the end of the month, and
Yeah.
that's it. For them, like it was like a real shock. And I do remember they said like, you go back to Hama, you give the money back to the dude. You say to him, I don't want any contracts. Give me back the game. And I spent a really good amount of time like just like convincing them like it's totally okay. We are
Yeah.
not going to spend the money. Plus, we can give him like the money back.
Yeah. They thought you were
It
getting
was
involved with like the criminals or the mafia or something like that, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, like I do remember the one thing that I did, I bought like a really nice PC.
Mhm.
We didn't have laptops back that time. I did get like a really nice PC, and I started planning like the other products that I want to do. I do remember also like I give most of the money like to the people around me.
Yeah.
So so Scott, like most of them started like respecting me, looking up
Mhm.
to me. Like they say, come teach our kids. We want them to be like
Mhm.
you. And I was like, ah, it was really, really nice.
Wow, that's
Really
great.
nice
Yeah.
times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And so did you
Yeah.
stay doing video game development more after that, or what happened after you sold the game?
Yeah. Yeah. After that, Scott, like I become somehow like a big shot
Hmm.
in the community.
Hmm.
And like a Lebanese magazine came to me and said, we are looking for an art director. Are you interested in becoming this art director? And I said, I am willing to take like a new chance. And
Yeah.
I worked for them like for an entire year. And I had
Hmm.
like a really good salary. I was
Hmm.
like the richest one between my friends and even my family. And I worked for
Wow.
them like for one, yeah, I worked for them for 1 year. And at the same time, I knew like I needed to refine my skills. I needed to learn more, become more, learn more about marketing, about sales, about like how to become a better person, like how to educate myself. And yeah, I spent like the rest of the time just like developing myself more. I did like two neuro-linguistic programming courses. I did a lot of like learning in terms of like graphic design, design in general, illustration, human anatomy, because that adds like to your illustration skills. And I do remember like teaching a lot of my friends like, come, you don't have like to be good at school. You can be good at school and good at something else. There's like another life. Like you can sell services, You can sell products. You don't have like to be an employee. Yeah, and that's how I spent like most of my college years until, of course, I did like a lot of short films as well. I directed multiple short films.
Wow.
Got some awards for some of them, and finally, I graduated, and I had like this kind of decision to make whether to go to the army
Yeah.
and leave everything behind, or like to truffle outside and leave everything behind as well.
Yeah. So the army won out, and then you had to have a big break from your career, I guess, at that time. Yeah.
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 Like a really big break, and it was really scary because like once I finished the army, I didn't know about like laptops being able like to connect through Wi-Fi to the internet. And
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of money. Like my laptop was like had like a broken screen, etc. And we didn't have electricity in Syria. So once I was done with the army, I was left like back like to zero. My family didn't have had money. I didn't have money. I was like back to ground zero. And
Yeah.
then like here in Syria, to provide electricity, what we do is we buy car batteries, and we charge those like for 13 minutes when you get electricity in the day, and
Mhm.
then you start using them for like your laptop and your mobile phone.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I did that, and for 1 month, I felt like either I do something really good with my life, and or like I will stay poor for my entire life. So what I did is I got my laptop, and I have done that before, like building a product and then selling the product. So what I
Mhm.
did, I decided like to build a product and sell it. Of course, I couldn't do games because like the market for games is like really tough, really hard.
Yeah.
So I decided like to do some kind of like a short cartoon movie.
Mhm.
So I decided to do like 10 episodes, and I started working on that. Like I worked on that like for almost like for like an entire month. Each 3 days, I would do like one episode, of course, 2 minutes episode, which is like really hard. Like you have to draw the characters, to animate them, to write the script, to direct
Yeah.
thing. So it was really hard. I stayed like for the entire month. I used to have like a small table with like a small sofa next to it. So I used like to sleep on the sofa, wake up directly to work, and I repeated that like for an entire month. Um, After that, like I started wanted like to sell this cartoon that I made, and because like all the sanctions on Syria,
Yeah.
I couldn't like sell this like to an outside like organization or a company. So I had to sell to someone here inside of Syria. I failed to do that. We have
Mhm.
like a really famous cartoon network here in Syria. It's called Space Tune.
Yeah.
And it's like somehow like a TV channel for kids. And I said like, why I don't try like to sell it to them? So I went to them. I don't remember. They didn't even allow me like to enter the company
Oh,
or the
wow.
building. Yeah.
They weren't
So I
interested.
felt
Yeah.
even like,
And I
yeah, they
guess
were not interested.
so our viewers kind of understand, I guess, the sanctions on Syria at the time were, you couldn't, I guess Syrians couldn't deal with the external companies. Like you couldn't go to a US
Yeah.
TV station and say, like, hey, I've got a cartoon I want to sell to you. You had to sell within the
Yeah.
country basically because the
Yeah.
sanctions restricted you in terms of business you could do with other external
Yeah.
countries, right? Yeah.
Exactly. It was really really brutal, Scott,
Yeah.
because you can't even have a bank account. You can't even allow someone to transfer money to you. Like even if I wanted to sell this cartoon,
Mhm.
how the people are going to pay for it? Like they can't send
Mhm.
money
Yeah.
To Syria.
And
Yeah.
why were the sanctions there in place? Was it, kind of like as a punishment to the Assad regime, or like who knows why they were there, just because to be there?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, Scott, like it wasn't a punishment to Al-Assad regime. Like they had whatever they want. It was
Mhm.
a punishment, honestly, like to the young people here in Syria and families.
Yeah, yeah,
I told you, like my family used like to live on candles. We didn't even have like
yeah.
electricity. For
Uh-huh.
me, I wanted like to work. I wanted to do my best to change the world, but I didn't have the means to that. Like you would buy like an old PC or like an old laptop for like a huge amount of money
Mhm.
because you
Yeah,
cannot import laptops.
yeah.
You cannot work with external companies and get like good salaries because
Mhm.
there is no way like for those companies to send money to Syria. So you
Yeah,
have like to work for like a really small amount of money.
yeah,
So it was really bad.
yeah.
Yeah,
That is tough.
it
Yeah,
wasn't it wasn't on the Assad regime at all. It was
yeah,
like on the Syrian people, and it
yeah,
brought us like really down, really down. Yeah.
yeah. Do you think that the those regulations will start lifting soon, or have they've been talking about it quite in the media, maybe?
Yeah, we have been crazy since we started hearing that the
Mhm.
sanctions are being lifted. All
Yeah.
of them are being lifted, but
Uh-huh.
of course now we need to wait till we build like the infrastructure for like everyone comes to see that to be able like to send us money and do business here. But we are
Yeah.
really happy the sanctions are lifted now. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's gonna make things a lot easier for you guys to do the basic
yeah, a
business,
lot.
like have a bank account, those type of things. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, a
that's
lot,
really
a lot.
cool. Yeah. So what happened? So you built this cartoon though, and you couldn't sell it anywhere. So what happened with it after all that?
Uh, yeah. Next scope, I wanted to give like things another try, so I thought let me do something more like people would like it, not like
Yeah.
big companies. So
Yeah.
what I did, I know how to draw, how to sketch, how to
Mhm.
draw portraits. So what I
Mhm.
did, I did an ad, like I can draw your portrait, let's say like for $1. And I
Yeah.
printed all of those and I started going to streets, handing over people those kind of like posts and ads. Hopefully
Mhm.
someone would call me so I can like draw a portrait for him. So I did
Yeah.
that like for some time. And then suddenly I got a call from a company called
Yeah.
Alpha Apps,
Mhm.
and they said like, "Hey, we have seen some of your work," and I published some of my work on online, and they were like, they saw that and they said, "Come, we want like to meet you." I went there and they said like, "We have a test for you. If you pass the test, we are going to hire you." And I was like really happy. Oh my God, like become like if they hire me, I will get like a steady salary. I can like support my family. I can
Yeah.
like at least
Definitely.
get on my legs. So I do remember they give me like this kind of digitizer or a tablet where you can like draw on it instead of
Mhm.
drawing with a mouse.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it was like really expensive, Scott. And
Uh-huh.
they said like you can have it for 2 weeks until you finish like the test. And
Wow.
I do remember I was like I said like those people are really crazy. Like, are
Mhm.
they going to keep this with me? And I was like really happy because one of my dreams was like to have this kind of tablet or a digitizer, but I
Yeah,
couldn't
exactly.
afford it. So I went home. I did the task. I do remember I did the task like within 1 day only. But I didn't hand over like the task nor the tablet like until like 2 weeks because I
Yeah.
wanted to enjoy it. I used it a
Wow.
lot. Yeah. And I handed over the task and I didn't know how good I am. Like actually what happened like within the army service as well, I used like to train a lot. I used to wake up like early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and start like studying, learning, reading books. So that like benefited me. And once I had it handed over like the task, the company were like really happy with me. They said they used like to have a product, a digital product, a game for kids, and they used like to have a German company work for them to do the artwork for them, and it was like really expensive. So
Oh,
once they found me, they said like we can do that for like a cheaper cost and they hired me and I was of course like was really happy even for me like the small like I do remember like my first salary was like $300, not a big amount but for me it was like crazy
yeah.
good.
A huge jump in
Yeah,
what your parents were used to making and the family.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was rich again.
Wow,
That's how,
nice.
how I felt. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
And yeah, I started working for the company. They really loved me. I put my heart and soul in it. I
Mhm.
stayed I stayed with Alpha Apps like for over 7 years.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
yeah, 7 years, I considered them as family. I did a lot for them. They did a lot for me as well. I do remember
Mhm.
they used to give me a bonus each month. Each month, they would give me a bonus. They tell me, like, don't leave us. And I was like, are those people crazy? Why would I leave them? Like, I will stay with forever with them.
I guess
And yeah,
they
I spent with
recognize your
them.
talent quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I spent with them like 7 years. I did like first of all, I did games for them and
Mhm.
edutainment apps for kids. But later on, like after 2 years, almost 2 years, I do remember this, the CEO of the company brought someone from Germany to do the company website. And I was really upset. Like, why would you bring someone to do the website? I am the artist here. I can do everything. And
Mhm.
he said it's a different field. It's like UI UX field. You don't know that. And of course, I didn't hear about that at all before. And then
Mhm.
suddenly I thought about it and I said, oh my God, like if I keep doing graphic design, I will not be rich. Like, for graphic design, you ask for like a certain amount of money, you can't exceed. If you do illustrations are the same, etc., etc. But when I started learning about UI UX, you can do projects for like a crazy amount of money. and based on like the experience you bring, the value you bring, how different you think about stuff. And then I worked with this girl. Her name was like Suzanne. She created the Safe Buddha website. She created the Alpha Apps website.
Okay.
And I did the illustrations for the website, and I learned a lot about the UI UX industry. And then I knew it. I need to switch career now again. And I was like not really young, but like I was like 33, 34, something like this,
Yeah.
and 32, something like this. But I knew it. I need to switch careers. It's something like really good. I need to learn it. And then I started my journey through UI UX, and I started learning about this field, how amazing it is. And of course, all the other like skills that I learned through the years helped me develop like a unique kind of UI UX approach. And things went well. Things went well.
Yeah, well, that sounds really like a really interesting career. And so, I guess at some point on the side, you started like doing some training of UI UX training. Is that correct? Or like teaching others how
Yeah.
to do it when you became so good at it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened, Scott, is like I teached in the army. I teach those
Hmm.
people, and
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like really happy about it. And I start
Hmm.
getting the news like this friend became a graphic designer. This man became like an illustrator. I was really happy. And then like I always wanted like to change the world. I have been
Hmm.
like I went through so much pain when I was a kid.
Hmm.
No one like lent me a hand. No one taught me. No one told me like it's not always dark. Like there is some light, some hope, like in the future. Just you need to put some effort into it. And until this moment, I feel like I have a duty like to educate all the people around me. And I do a lot of free courses. I do a lot of seminars, sessions. I teach a
Hmm.
lot of people. And of course, once I joined Alpha Apps, I got like more money. So I had like more free
Hmm.
time,
Yeah.
not to keep like working as a freelancer or like with the company, but like I had some kind of luxury now, like to spend some time teaching others. And I truly love doing that. Like I do always like do courses. People love the courses. Some of them are really good now, UI UX designers. Some of them are really good graphic designers, which is a blessing now. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I guess that's when I was introduced to you, when, we found out about your skills, because we used to, we worked with a lot of Syrians when I was the CTO of Safe Boda. And, we were told there's this guy, Assad, who is like really good at the UI UX. And so, tell us about kind of how that journey was, coming with, joining with Safe Boda and, what your experience was like getting introduced to East Africa at that time.
Yeah. I do remember I got a phone call from Ala and he said, Asad, I have like a new role for you, a new position. And I said to him directly, like, Scott, I was like a super active freelancer. I used to do a
Yeah.
lot of projects.
Yeah.
And I loved that. I loved that. I love
Mhm.
like working.
Yeah.
Somehow I am a workaholic. And Ala said, like, I have like a new thing for you. Do you
Hmm.
want to take it? And I said, like, is it challenging? And he said, yes, it's really challenging. And
Hmm.
said, okay, what is it? And he said, like, we have this home screen. We want to revamp it.
Hmm.
It's for Uganda, and we don't know what to do with it. And I'm going to like to introduce you to Alistair. He will tell you all the information about it.
Hmm.
And then like I met Alistair. He was like really crazy, calling me each 5 minutes, like,
Yeah.
what happened? Did you do the home screen? Did you revamp it? Did you finish it? And I was like, okay, give me some time to do it. And I do remember, like, once I finished the home screen, he was like really happy with it. I do remember we were on a call meeting, me, him, and Ala. And then I was like almost like 10 minutes within the call, and he said, Ashad, stop. Can you do this like in the next 1 hour? And I said, yes, I can do that. And he said, okay, let's drop now and we will meet in 1 hour from now. And I was like really scared. Did I do good? And Scott, I am self-taught. I didn't go to like
Yeah.
no one taught me like UI UX. I am a self-taught, so I always have like this kind of doubt, like, am I good? I am not good. And then I was like really scared. What happened? Why he dropped off? Why didn't we continue the meeting? And then he sent me a link after 1 hour, and like there were like a lot of people in the meeting, like Max, Alistair, Rob, and different people in the meeting. And he said, Asad, do what you have been doing like in our first meeting. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And I went through the presentation about like how we can like revamp the home screen, what kind of changes we can do here and there, and what kind of income we expect. We need to measure that, etc., etc. And he was really happy. and people like were like really happy with the redesign, and it went well. The task went well, and then he said like we want to make you an offer to join Safe Buddha to become one of our team members. And then I was really scared. As I mentioned, I've never like joined a company without considering the company as family.
Yeah.
And the first company I worked with, like Alpha Apps, was like I stayed with them like for seven
Yeah.
years.
Many years.
Like
Yeah.
leaving, yeah, leaving Alpha Apps was like something really scary. And at the same time, I used to have this kind of like amateur feeling, like what will happen for them after me? Are they going to get someone new? Will they fail? Should I stay with them? I need to support them. They are my family. And then I went and do all the interviews with you guys.
Mhm.
And I do remember like you sent me the offer through the email, and for some reason, like I didn't want to leave Alpha Apps. Like I felt I'm betraying them or
Yeah.
something. So I rejected the Safe Buddha offer. And
Mhm.
Ala, I do remember Ala calling me and say, "Are you crazy? Are you crazy?" Like the company, the new company, like Safe Buddha loves you. They interviewed you. You have like met everyone. Everything is going well. Why you don't want like to improve? And I was like, Ala, I don't want to betray Alpha Apps. What will happen to them after me? I don't know. And he said, man, this is business. This is work. You need to do like a different thing now. You want something more challenging, etc., etc. And of course, like Uganda was like the African market for me was like a new one.
Mhm.
I did like most of my projects were in the Middle East area, America, Europe, those kind of like advanced countries somehow. And then like uh, Africa is something really different for me. And then like I said, yeah, why not? Let's take the challenge. And I do remember Ala sent like the acceptance to the offer via email. And I do remember the email. He said like Asad accepted the offer. He will join us soon, etc., etc. And then Alistair called me and said, you should start by the end of the month. And I said, Alistair, I need like at least 2 months before I leave my own company. And he said, no, you should start now. And then
Wow.
I decided, okay, let me leave. I do
Wow.
remember like the last day in my Alpha Apps company, people are bringing me gifts. I am crying a lot. Like, I don't want to leave you. This is life. This is how we should do it. And they said, like, come on. Even most of my friends said, like, come on, you need to grow. Come on, leave Alpha Apps. Go find something new. Go do something different. And this is how I joined, like, Safe Buddha.
Yeah. And I'm sure like people who have followed SafeBoda or know the app the way it was back in the early days, beginning before you joined, like you probably had like one of the most significant impacts, I think, on the SafeBoda app, the design of it, just making it like a more industry standard, piece of equipment out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, right. I mean, I think it's been quite amazing the journey you've had. How long have you been with SafeBoda now? Yeah, I think
Yes. Almost 4 years. So,
yeah, that's
yeah.
a quite a long time in the app journey. Well, that's crazy. And I guess you traveled to East Africa now. How was the experience when you came
Yeah.
and saw things on the ground in East Africa?
Yeah. I traveled 2 times to Uganda. I fall in love with Uganda. It has like a nature of its own, and I guess all of Africa. I think it's different from the MENA region, like
Hmm.
the Middle East region, and it's different from like Europe, America. It has something to it, and it's got like what was really shocking to me in Uganda was like how vivid the colors are,
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
the trees, the ground, everything. It was like really vivid, and I truly loved its people. I do remember like when I visited the Safe Buddha Academy for the first time, I saw everyone there. I was so happy. And I do remember I walked from the Safe Buddha Academy till Kololo, where I used like to
Yeah.
stay. And it was like a really long walk. And people told me like, that's crazy. You shouldn't do that again. And I was like, why not? Like it was like a really a magical journey for me. And I truly
Yeah.
love Uganda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss it
Experience
so
of the
much.
culture. Wow, well, that's really great.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what other any new projects or anything that you have coming down the pipeline you're thinking about or working on?
At the moment, I'm fully dedicated like to save Buddha, and still I got like freelance projects now and there.
Mhm.
The thing is like within our industry, you can't like stay within um, uh, like things are evolving really fast, really
Mhm.
really fast, and you need
Yeah.
to keep working on a lot of stuff. And working for a company is really different from working with those
Mhm.
kind of like freelance projects. Those are
Yeah.
like really fast. Yeah. Unlike like working for a company, sometimes like decisions needs like a lot of time to be taken and like a lot of people to agree on them. Unlike like when you do like freelance projects.
Yeah.
So for me, Scott, like hopefully from now till the end of the year, I'm going to work on a UI UX course. It's
Mhm.
going to be a digital one, and I
Mhm.
hope it will be like a unique one since I bring like experience from the MENA region, East Africa region, and different part of the world. So hopefully, I'm
Yeah.
going to finish this course by end of year, introduce it to everyone, see how people like react to it. Yeah, this is my
Yeah.
big project now.
Wow. Well, you definitely have a unique experience across all these areas to add a lot to just the
Yeah.
whole, the SafeBoat app in general, the, way to keep it furthering the UI UX profession that you have there. I mean, it's quite exciting. I think this conversation has been really interesting for me because, I mean, I'm an American who's lived in East Africa. You're a Palestinian Syrian, who is also working for a Ugandan app. I mean, it's two worlds that I think would not usually meet or collide, I would say, and
Yeah.
I think that's why it's really exciting, I think, and our viewers will find it very interesting because I know, growing up, for me, we didn't have people, from Syria or Palestine. We didn't, we knew our world of Texas. I'm assuming kind of the same way when you're growing up in Syria, you kind of know people from
Yeah.
Syria. So it's really exciting to see and learn more about the things that you were going through in your country and like how things are evolving now and moving forward. It's a really exciting thing to see. So yeah, it's been really cool to hear your story. Anything else you want to cover while we're here? It's about all the questions I have for you, but if there's anything else you want to go through? Yeah.
Uh, Nothing really important. Just like I wish like when I was like a child, someone tell me this, like
Yeah.
whatever your circumstances, wherever you are living, whatever your circumstances, like believe me, if you want to do something, you can do it. All you have to
Mhm.
do is like spend a little effort on it. And yeah, I would advise like all of the young kids like that, like education is really, really important. Like knowledge is power at this moment. And
Yeah.
like the more you know, the more valuable you are, the more like good life you have. So I would advise like all of the kids, if anyone like would hear this,
Mhm.
like stick to your schools. They are really important. They are not like really bad. They
Mhm.
teach you things. It's not about like the books you read, but more they teach you like a really good mentality, how to learn
Mhm.
stuff, how to accomplish stuff. And then like after you finish school, you shouldn't stop learning. Like learning is like a cycle of life. Like the day I stop learning, I feel like I am dead. Like I should learn on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Other than that, like yeah, you don't have anything to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess it's an important lesson that you showed everybody here that, I mean, everybody has some condition they're going through or something that's holding them back that may derail their career, derail their future. You had multiple things happen to you in life, it seems like, and
Yeah.
you stayed strong and you kept like focusing on what you needed to and move forward. And I think, a lot of times people think they're in a unique or very tough situation, whatever the situation might be, right? I mean, everybody's got something in their life that, family member
Yeah.
dies or parents get divorced or, they're homeless or whatever it is might be, right? Everybody, I would think almost everybody has like some setback that hits them in life usually. And the ones that are successful are the ones that are resilient and, just keep
Yeah.
moving forward and don't give up hope, I guess. And it seems like you have a great story of in doing those things and not giving up hope and inspiring others. So it's a really exciting thing to see. So yeah, we really appreciate you, sharing that with us. So okay, well, great having you on the podcast, Assad. I think this will be like a really exciting thing for our viewers to see, and yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, and I think spreading the joy to the world, and it's been great knowing you just on a personal level over the last few years. I think it's been really exciting to just to get to know who you are, and you're just a really great person and doing a lot of great things across the world. So yeah, it's been an honor to have you on the podcast. So thanks for joining
Thank you very much, Scott. And I'm really
me.
happy that you have me on your show. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.